And now let's also look at the settings we have for each section. So I'm going to scroll back up and go to this top section here. Then let's head over to Edit section. And then here under Design, we have some options for the grid. Now we've already seen the grid before when we were moving around elements here on this section. And we can actually make changes to this grid. Now to see our changes, what we want to do is first go to our keyboard and hit the letter G. This will make the grid visible here in the background so we can see our changes. Now first we can change the row count, which will just determine how large this section is. And to increase the area, we can just increase the row count right here to maybe 20. And then you can see that we have some more space here at the bottom. However, we can also just use this slider here at the bottom to manually drag the section size up or down and make it exactly how large we want it to be. And now, as you can see, we are back at 16. We can also look at the gap. So currently we have a gap in between those grids, and we can maybe remove the gap, and this will enable us to put the elements a lot closer together, or we can go back to this gap right here to have a bit more spacing between the elements. When we click on the three dots, we can individually change the space between each grid by moving the slider to the left or to the right. Now I'm going to keep it as it is. Then here, if we activate the fill screen feature, it will make sure that the entire screen of your website visitor is filled just by this section. And then here under styling, we have one of my favorite options here on Squarespace, which is the divider. So when we activate this feature, then we can see a very nice looking border here at the bottom for this section. Let's actually press on the letter G again to make sure the grid lines are gone so we can really see what this looks like. And let's go back in here. So under shape, we can basically change and try out different shapes for the border of this part of the website. Now I'm going to actually stick to these wavy lines. I think they look nice. We can also change the width down here, the height, and I'm actually going to maybe play around with the alignment a bit and maybe put this to the left side just a bit and then go back. Now I think that looks pretty good. We can also play around with the thickness of this border down here. I think medium looks good. We can also change the color down here. Now I think that looks very nice. So let's move on and go to the second tab for the settings, to background. Now we've already covered how to change up this background image, but if you want to, you can also add a video instead of an image by clicking video and then uploading it right here. Or you can go to art and then use one of Squarespace's different art options as a background. But let's actually go back to image, and then let's go to the next tab, which is colors. Now here we can use different color themes based on the color palettes that we have chosen for this website. So currently it's set to darkest, which means that the background will be dark and the text in front will be bright. Now we can also change this to maybe lightest 2, and this will make the background bright and the text, it will make it dark. So we can basically play around with these different options. And the cool thing here is that it will still look good and overall compliant with your overall color palette. So I'm going to go back to the option we had in the beginning. Now let's click out of these settings. And then one more thing I want to show you for the section settings is this option to browse different layouts. When we click here, then we can see different types of layouts for this section that Squarespace kind of recommends to try out. And we can just click on each of them and see what they look like. Maybe we want to have the heading here on the left side, the subheading on the right, and the button right here. Or maybe we want to try this option here, or maybe this option. So here pretty quickly you can see different options that you can use for a layout for your section. Now to go back, we can just use the undo button here until we are back with the original option we had.